Hey, everybody. Happy New Year to you. Let us be the last to wish that along. Only 54 more years until the mass device gets to public domain. Good news.
So, set your calendars.
Right. We're so close. We're so close. Just be patient. It'll get there. Stick with us. We got a lot to talk about tonight. But first, our kick-ass theme music. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday night. It's 9:05. There's no major holidays going on, so it must be time for the What's on Joe Mind TeamStream. I'm your host, Mike Irizarry. How's everybody doing?
Ooh, welcome back.
Right? It feels like it's been like almost a month. Wait, because it's been almost a month. So
the only major holiday we go live for is Arbor Day.
Right, because that's our holiday, damn it. So, again, I'm your host, Mike Irizarry. Joining me here in the top row tonight, he's the former head of marketing for the G.I. Joe brand at Hasbro, and the reason why our group of talking heads is better than the other group of talking heads. It's the Hot Show, Mark Weber.
That's right, and hold on, let me get it right. 5-0, baby. Hit the big 5-0 since I saw you last. Hell boy.
Right, on Weber Day.
Yeah, on Weber Day. I hope everybody had a nice Weber Day.
You'll notice all the cool graphics we put out that day. We pumped out all kinds of happy Weber Day graphics, not a mention of Christmas Eve anywhere in them.
No, because come on.
It was all about Weber Day. Even Mark Weber as the Grinch.
Right.
Happy Weber Day.
Yeah, that's what I got. What I always wanted: eyebrows. It was a little terrifying. But yeah, and so now we got to step the game up next year and give people advance notice by having Weber Eve the day before Weber Day, which is awesome.
That's Festivus.
No. That's actually Mike Weber Day. That's my brother's birthday, the day before mine. So let's just poop all over his birthday by calling it Weber Eve.
Oh yes,
to poop on. That's right. But yeah, they did up my birthday pretty big gold balloons and Steeler birthday cake. I got my Steelers shirt on the wall there. You can barely tell.
Was Troy Polamalu on hand to give hair tips?
Pretty much, right? Like I could use some of his hair.
Right?
Absolutely. You bet.
I'm doing pretty good in the hair department, but if Troy Polamalu gave me hair tips, I'd follow those hair tips.
Yeah, dude.
Some long, luxurious locks.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just going to tell you to use Head and Shoulders.
Yeah.
Which already there.
Pretty much.
I use the almond infused for extra scalp care.
Ooh. Very nice. I wonder what they use on the Batman the Animated Series podcast.
Probably not that. Those guys are flaking all over the place.
Oh.
Prel.
Starting feuds here in the new year.
Pert plus. Those guys are Pert plus all the way.
In the bottom row, he's the former host of Rack Time, and we're just starting to get him some comics again. But it's Rack Time, Rob.
Hello. I have my comedic sidekick here tonight. Oh, yes. Hello, studio audience. Hello, yes.
Junkyard, the insult comic dog. Can't beat him.
Open
mine,
up the box. What triumph.
As discussed before the break, mine is in the mail. Thanks. Also joining us from Articulated Points. You know him, you tolerate him as Biff McHonky Donk. But in reality, it's Phil Donnelly.
Hey. I have my identity back for the moment.
Yeah, secret identities. Yeah.
For now.
Fred,
how's things been?
from visit public domain land.
Oh, that one's that's still got a few more years before the whole park's public domain.
So we've we cycled through a number of guest hosts just to avoid having you on. But you'll be with us both this week and next week as we go through our top 10 episodes.
A double shot.
Finally wore Mike down.
Right.
Right.
Right. Joe Colton is not in a position where I can assign her homework.
Mm-mm.
So we had to go to the bench for Phil for these critical episodes.
I gave him about 20 minutes of thought.
Right.
Right.
What I was not thinking of is that we'd have 3 weeks of news to pile on top
Mhm.
of the top 10 news stories of 2023. So what do you say? We just get into it a little early tonight. Let's give a start to community calendar.
Cobra's crazy weather patterns just swallow up my signals.
Shipless layout. Shipless layout.
I still love that one. If you've got a show or event that you want us to help get the word out, you saw the email there. What's on Joe Mind at gmail.com. That's where you want to send any correspondence you've got for the show. This email right here, what's on Joe Mind at gmail.com. You can get a hold of us through other social media. Great. I can't promise you that it's all going to be organized enough for me to get it in where it needs to go. So you absolutely want to make sure that it gets to the program right there.
Let the boy read your email.
Right.
He ain't going to hurt it.
I might.
Maybe.
I might. That dog head's going to pop up all night tonight.
He's paying attention.
Right. But let's go ahead and get this one started. First up, of course, hey, new year, new Toyman graphic. You can see Chris McQuillan there. It's showing off how he is steadily losing body mass. So we have a skinnier guy carrying that huge drum. As it's skinnier and skinnier every year.
It's all the cardio from carrying the huge drum.
I'm sure it probably
It's
helps.
mostly air.
But of course, first Toyman of 2024 is this weekend on Sunday, January 14, from 9 to 2 out at the Machinist Hall in Bridgeton, Missouri. You can get all the details from them on Facebook or at their website there on the page. Is it on the page anymore? No, it's not. No, it is. It's there. ToymanShow.com. $5 gets you, $50 gets you an hour early for early bird. Parking is free and plentiful. And of course, you find Dave Draper, give him a hug. That'll get you $0 off that admission fee. That's worth it just for the experience.
Mm-hmm. Use the promo code Rob and Mike. All run together.
Right. Promo codes.
Is that A&D?
No. The promo code is Hug Dave.
Oh.
Dave Hugs with a Z.
With a Z to make it edgy.
So real quick, Rob, a question for you from Cheapest Big Spender. It's going to be a lot of us and not a whole lot of crowd tonight, so bear with us, guys. Question for you. Did you ever read the Wolverine comics that Larry Hama wrote? I totally forgot about that until my brother said Larry Hama is going to be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
No,
never?
No.
I know you didn't buy
them. Most of the ones he wrote, I mean, every issue of Wolverine was like chapter 9 of the latest X-Men event. So I'm like,
Yeah, fair.
I've read some.
I'm surprised you didn't catch them on reprint or something. I know you didn't get them first run, but
yeah.
So that dark, gritty hero with the pointy ears does nothing for you? Just saying.
The pointy ears, yeah. The pointy hair, not so much.
Okay, fair enough.
Diana Davis with important tips. Be sure to make and hold eye contact with Dave through that hug. I would say no. Go for the full head on shoulder hug on that one. That makes Dave even less comfortable.
How do you hold eye contact in a hug? That's a bad hug.
Do the hand up and down on the back while you're hugging.
That's like a makeout hug right there. I don't know if I want to be that close.
He's going to murder us one day. Mark's worried about Tim Roberts busted through his door. We're worried about Dave Draper.
Right.
I've swapped text with Dave a few times over the last few weeks. I've made no mention of this, so I know he's not been watching the show. Yeah.
Just to point out to Jake Rose, Larry Hammett did not come up with the bone claws. That was a Chris Claremont idea that he was toying with before he was kicked off X-Men.
Wasn't that on the first?
No one cares, Phil. No one cares.
No, wasn't it on the first Genosha thing? Right? He lost his powers. He had his adamantium stripped, and he popped bone claws, and it was awesome.
No, Fatal Attractions.
The patron saint of community calendar, AbsorbVids, wants to keep it. He's got to keep it short tonight. Currently on the run. Kind of a long story, but I was committed for making videos about chicken nuggets. Released over the Christmas break. Be sure to catch the AbsorbVids Supercut, which we put out on Weber Day.
Yeah.
Because Rapcho is important. He's a key cog in that story. More of you need to check that out. We don't put out a whole lot of short form content because nobody watches it. So if you don't watch the short form content, I'm not going to make any more. You should get your Tuesday night show, and that'll be the end of it. And I won't hear any more complaints, because every time I don't do something for a while, I get a couple of emails trickling in. Why don't you do mail call anymore? Why don't you do this anymore? Nobody watches them when I do. So start watching the stuff I put out.
Or you'll get no more.
Right? It's gotta be worth the time, guys. It's gotta be worth the time.
Don't get your pudding if you don't get your meat.
Right? So again, if you're anywhere close to St. Louis and the weather is at all cooperative this week, which it might not be. I know in St. Louis they got some snow, which is rare enough. If you can safely get to St. Louis, Missouri this weekend for Toyman, it's always worth the trip.
The only thing rarer than snow in St. Louis is free agent signings. Oh, man, Cardinals taking next year off too.
They do that as much as they trade away superfluous outfielders.
Didn't they sign somebody?
Who they got one of the pitchers, right? Did they get Gray? Somebody?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Sonny Gray they signed. Yeah,
there you go.
I don't know. I don't keep track.
He's bad in the playoffs, so St. Louis is probably a great spot for him.
Unless they're playing Washington, that's kind of been the way it's gone. Yeah. Anyways, so again, Toyman, first Toyman of the year. We'll be back for them 7 more times. So if you missed this one, just hang out till end of February. We'll start plugging the next one. Next up, of course, Winterfest. Woohoo! Happening in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, just south of Louisville. This is done by the Kentucky G.I. Joe team, that we see at kygijoe.com.
Did we shame them into changing their website?
No, they've always had a separate website for Winterfest.
Oh, okay.
So Winterfest has always been at gijoewinterfest.com. This year happening on the 27th. That is a Saturday from 10 to 4. To $8 gets you in the door. Early birds an hour earlier for $15, or you could do the Friday night preview. That gets you in from 5 to 8 Friday night, plus early bird on Saturday. That is $30.
Just remember, KY in the winter is a different experience altogether.
That's right. They're still plugging away over there at kygijoe.com.
Do me a favor, highlight that comment by Dustin Jeffrey about the Cardinals.
Ooh, it's a good trivia question.
Right. I mean, good point, man. But
we happen to root for that team, so
yeah, we're gonna throw the Cardinals under the bus like everybody else. They'll get it maybe a little bit less than everybody else.
Yeah.
But
I sure hope the Cardinals don't win the World Series for the next 15 years and tie the Yankees atop that leaderboard.
16,
yeah.
16? Oh, we're looking for 28.
Yeah, but they're looking for 12.
Oh, I thought they had 12.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Cheapest Big Spender asks, free parking, no free kids. Honestly, I don't know. It's at a convention center or conference center, so I'm inclined to think probably free parking.
Very expensive children.
Yeah, I don't know about the kids part. I don't know.
They got the good kids though, all their teeth and everything.
I know it's free kids at Toyman, but that's kind of a problem in Missouri in general.
Yeah, those kids kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Just remember, kids are a lifetime investment. You don't just get them for the holidays and then get rid of them when you're tired of them.
Free kids, but no Wander Franco. Keep an eye out for him.
Ooh. Oh my.
What, too soon?
Oh God,
Maybe.
gonna get us demonetized. Just
At least for
nobody.
him.
Maybe.
No, it's just nobody go any further than this, and we'll be fine.
Okay. So I'm basically at like 5.9 seconds of careless whisper right now.
Right.
Back away.
As soon as you start making comments about what they think Wander Franco has done, then we have problems. Mentioning his name, no problems.
There we go.
It's not like that big chunk of video I had to cut out of Special Edition 89, where Can was frankly hilarious, but there is no way I could keep any of it in because they'd have just kicked this off of YouTube.
Yeah, that guy is a habitual line stepper.
It's all right, man. Look, man. It's okay to make me work. I wouldn't have asked him on if I wanted him to pull punches.
Right. I know some days you sit alone, awake in the middle of the night, and go, God, I wish I was editing audio right now.
Much easier to edit video.
That's true.
Chunk.
Crossfade.
Like in audio, you feel the need to try and get real surgical and put stuff together. And it doesn't work with video because then things get real choppy real quick, and so you just get rid of large chunks.
I remember Norv Turner, Redskins coach at the time, which dates the reference by far, not just the coach, but the team name, complaining about the media at some point. And I'm like, do you know I edit like 50 minutes of your ums and uhs out of your news conferences every damn week? The media tried to make me look bad.
The 4-12 record didn't help either.
Right. When they fired him, they said it took him 3 hours to leave because he couldn't diagram a play to get himself out of the parking lot.
One of the best offensive coordinators of his generation.
Yep.
Terrible head coach.
Shouldn't have gone Icarus and flown that close to the sun.
Yeah.
One promotion too many.
Sometime, look, man, if they're going to offer you that job, you got to take it. You got to take that money.
You probably do, yeah. Or you could be an OC for 20 more years.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Norv Turner for taking the shots. He's not the one hiring him.
True.
Diana asks, are we sports balling again? Of course we are.
Just remember, you are promoted to your level of incompetence.
Yeah, and then you hang around.
I wish.
I've met a lot of them.
That's it for community calendar, everybody. Still short, still the winter time. Not a lot of folks getting a hold of me about shows just yet. Clearly, the Pittsburgh convention season has not gotten underway, as it's been quiet from Matt Rubin.
All those zombies are frozen in the streets.
It's what we call playoff season in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Right. Charmed existence those guys are living.
Mason Rudolph going to win his first title.
The Steelers need 4 teams to lose to get in, and they all lose.
Yes.
Oh, that's it for community calendar.
Like, I hardly ever wear a hat, right? If I wear a hat, it's because the hair just would not be controlled. I look like a third grader. It's like a sketch of me as a third grader. I just need a propeller on the hat. I'm good to go.
That bumper cost $25 million.
It was the one time you were wearing a hat.
Yeah, but we're deferring 24 million of it down the road. So
right.
It's against the cap.
It's $5 a year for 25 million years. All the shows I do around me are in April, says Matt Rubin. So
yeah, talk to my agent, Bobby Bonilla.
I think Bobby Bonilla Day is going to get completely overshadowed by Shohei Ohtani Day.
And Weber Day.
They're going to be paying that guy until, 23, 25?
I don't know.
Ridiculous. So it's we do we're here for the top 10 G.I. Joe stories of 2023, but we actually do have some regular current news that we've got to get to first. So bear with us. We're not going to try and go super long. We're probably going to wind up going a little bit long tonight. I won't lie to you. A little long.
Hey, I got to work in the morning.
What?
So do I.
Whatever.
How many hours of eternal baseball do you have to work on after the show, Ragtime Rob?
Nope, nobody cares
I'll
about any
trade
of
you.
this.
Pipe down, Batman.
Nobody cares about any of this.
Nobody
cares.
I'll trade you.
No one cares.
Let's be honest. Long is normal for us.
Right.
Hey,
First news item. Same as last time. Strike Force Alpha should be available soon, or if it might be available. I didn't check it today, so I'm not sure. But check out White Elephant Toys with a Z.com/Strike Force Alpha. See if you can get your mitts on the first of the 3 3/4 O-ring figures on the market out of our latest cadre of independent creators. Seems to be reviewing pretty well. Nobody sends us anything to talk about, so I can't say firsthand, but whatever. We've only been doing this longer than everybody else. That's fine.
We got nothing.
Get nothing.
I got several of these on pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store, and they told me they're about to be fulfilled, but not quite yet. So
They are warming it up.
I'll let you know when they're in my hot little hands.
All right. Along those lines,
I like those guys a lot. I think that's big time. I can't wait to get the guys I have coming.
all right. Along those lines, next news item. Delta 17's in similar proximity. We're close to that line being out and available for everybody. Our good friend Brian, Hooded Cobra Commander 788, did an unboxing and review of the entire line, the entire first wave. Be sure to check that out on his channel. Has any of you guys checked this one out yet or no?
I gotta look at this.
All right.
I've been losing track of which projects are coming.
Look, I'm with you. I hear you. It's difficult, especially when they don't tell us.
Right.
You know, we've only got so much attention we can pay to these things. Sometimes a press conference would help, or press release would help.
I meant to look it up, but I was trapped under Carson's book for a week.
Yeah.
Right. It fell over.
Uh-huh.
Legs were pinned.
It was that episode of The Simpsons from season 1 or 2.
I'm actually trying to put legs under the book to make it an actual coffee table book.
It's just better to get one of those big industrial spools.
Well, that's not bad.
Can support the weight.
I was thinking I'd go retro ASU dorm, get me some milk crates. It's gonna be good.
Go right through those milk crates, man.
Be wobbling.
Yeah, you just come in the next day, they'll all be bowed out.
Speaking of ASU, hey,
that's bowed out.
Oh, that's true. Sorry.
Yeah, that's different. It's close, but spelled the same.
We can see where the confusion lies.
So again, once we're done here, be sure to check out Brian's Delta 17 unboxing and review. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll quiz you guys next week. Oh Lord, who knows? Next news item. Hey, we got some news here. Heavy Armor Toys in the Navy. Backer kit closes at the end of January. They did hit the funding goal. I didn't have time to get it in here, but they did hit the funding goal for that Navy SEAL that you see in the picture. That dude in the camo with the M16. He's available. So be sure to check out the Heavy Armor Toys backer kit. Get yourself one of them. They've also got any number of sailors. They've got the flight crew, and now the SEAL as well. So Congratulations to that one. They've backed $50,000 on this project. Got 7 or 8 figures available. Be sure to head over to their backer kit. Check that out and order some for yourself soon. Because again, end of the month, that backer kit is closed and they're going to go into production.
Pretty sure that's an M15.
Yeah, is it? I can't. The screen is just right in that zone where I'm taking a guess.
No, I'm just saying it's a little bit smaller.
Maybe it's just a scale thing.
Could be.
Like in the old toy line there. Footloose had an M16, Leatherneck had an M16, and somehow Leatherneck's was twice the size.
Right.
So we don't talk about Grunt's M16.
Jim Smith there with the correction, 9 figures actually. So there you go, 9 figures available. So be sure to check them out. Check them out and order to your heart's content. Jeff Butler says, I'm excited about adding that seal to my order because it's like Wetsuit from yearbook number 4 and the original special missions. Why, yes. I'm sure that is
an odd coincidence.
I'm sure that is completely coincidental. And Sir James advises it's an M4.
Might be an M3.
3, 4, whatever it takes.
Whatever.
M3.5.
It's an M3 and 3/4. It's awesome.
Jim Smith filling it out as we break it up. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the What's on Joe Mind push right there in action.
That's marketing right there, baby.
Who puts the mark in marketing?
Me.
Well, Honcho Mark Weber.
I used to.
Yeah, but who puts the et in it?
Now you put the mark in marketing 3 days a week for first graders, but still.
Pretty much. But 7 days a week for Eternal Baseball, baby. Ooh.
And
always on that game.
Twice on Sunday.
That's right.
Doubleheader.
That's because he's doing stats and doing the Eternal Baseball podcast.
I got a lot going on, man.
I hear you. We didn't do a team stream for the last 3 weeks. This has been the busiest month ever for me working on this show since we've gone to video. None of it live.
All behind the scenes.
I'm working on this stupid crap all the time. I'm trying to get some sleep, people. Cheapest big spender needs some realistic soldiers like the cook from Down Periscope.
I'm sorry, sir. The Band-Aid was keeping the fingernail on.
Underrated movie. Not a great movie, but certainly not as bad as you'd think it would be.
Underrated, but entertaining.
Right. Not great, but not bad either.
It's there.
Is that the one where didn't Lauren Holly fall for Fraser Crane in that movie?
I believe so.
Yes, you did.
That's why it's a movie, Mark. That's why it's a movie.
And then Optimus showed up and killed him, as I recall. So not bad.
I think so.
You may have fallen asleep between a few movies there.
Yeah. It seemed kind of sudden, but okay.
It's a lot of TBS going on there, Mark. I'm thinking
dramatic shift in tone.
Maybe we shouldn't fall asleep in the living room anymore.
It freed up Lauren Holly for Jim Carrey to chase, right? So, all right.
Oh. Next news item.
Do.
Hey, look at that. It's another offering from Hiya Toys.
Mm-hmm.
Hiya.
That right there is the first army builder in the Hiya line. That is a Cobra Trooper.
Fancy.
So you see him there. I like a lot about this figure. I do not like that blue and black camo. Because it's just like the Flint Tiger Force camo, only blue. We'll get a better look at him here in the white background. But the design is reminiscent of the Neo Viper from Joe versus Cobra back in the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit of a departure from the classified look.
Yeah.
Right. You can see there, retail suggested about $25, which means you're going to pay about $30 with import. That is expected in this coming summer. 2 pistols, 2 rifles, 2 sets of hands, Only one knife. I feel a little shorted on that. Removable helmet, strength in numbers, and a questionable sense of self. All in the package for you for your $25. Mark Weber, what do you think?
I like this a lot, and that was my big Christmas present to myself, was getting caught up on this whole line because it's being carried domestically by Cotswold Collectibles. So I got all of these on pre-order, except I have the Snake Eyes. I didn't get the Storm Shadow, and he is hard to find. Man, is he hard to find right now. So, hey, I'll just throw it out there. Just throw a brother a bone. If you happen to have a spare, let me know. I don't have a barbecue to trade, but I might be able to find something else. But interesting bit, I haven't dealt with Cotswold in quite some time. I got an email back from them today where they said the pre-orders for this guy, only this guy, are being canceled. So they're not getting stock of this guy. But they said the remaining 9 or so that are yet to arrive that they're expecting, they believe are fine. But I don't know what that means moving forward, because I was really happy to find somebody in the States carrying these. But
there's
breaking news.
There's a whole list of retailers that are carrying them stateside now.
Okay.
You can we've linked to it in the past. I'll try and get it attached again, as far as who's carrying Hiya Toys here in the U.S. But yeah, that when Storm Shadow came out, him and Snake Eyes were the first two in the line, and they hadn't quite gotten all those shipping details figured out yet. So those two are pretty tough to find. Even you've got Snake Eyes. Congratulations! I hear that's kind of a get.
Yeah, I still don't have them.
I have a feeling that those guys will see a re-release somewhere down the line.
If they're smart, just double pack them and go brand new option.
Right. Either a repaint or just a straight re-release.
Yeah. But I like this guy. I think he's cool. And yeah, the camo throws it a bit.
Yeah.
But I like that because the Hiya Toys have been really close, other than the Storm Shadow, to what we've seen from Classified. So I like stuff that's unique and a departure. So I'm totally down with this guy. I just got to go find him.
Maybe this was the earlier design. Maybe it's like Storm Shadow was, where they based it on the first Classified design, which we really didn't see in an action figure.
And I think I know they were I would say short printed, but there are lots of reasons why that Storm Shadow is hard to find. But I think that's one of them, right? It's a very unique look for Storm Shadow that you can't get anywhere else right now. So
right.
Anyway, call me. Yeah.
Right there. The text buzzer went off.
See? It works, man. The reach is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Do you need us to send you some Mad Marauder barbecue figures for trade?
How many do you think I'd have to trade? For one Storm Shadow.
I don't know if the entire print run is enough.
Right. I think it would have to be like 40, just so the guy could return them to Ollie's and make enough money to balance the Storm Shadow he gave up.
Do they do returns at Ollie's?
I don't know.
I would
return something to Ollie's. There's something kind of wrong with you, I think.
Right. I would think
they don't returns, but interesting trades considered.
Okay.
If you come in with 40 of those guys, something went wrong along the way.
Yeah, like probably true.
Closeout retail is a tough one to argue returns with,
Yeah. Unless you open it up and go, holy cow, that's tripwire in here.
They don't notice that anywhere else, so I'm not going to hold up Ollie's on that one.
No, I'm just saying. I wonder how many Joe collectors out there think they have a complete collection and they've really got a headless John Cena in there.
The live chat is going out of their way to tell us that you can do returns at Ollie's. We don't really. We're making jokes about returning to Ollie's. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's all right. We don't need to know. It's fine.
But hey, just in case,
right? We'll file it away, but it's okay, guys. We're not actually going to Ollie's at all, frankly. So nothing to return.
I can't go to Ollie's.
Right.
Somewhere out there at Ollie's, there's a Slaughter's Marauders barbecue with my autograph in silver Sharpie on it.
You should just do that at the Ollie's closest to you. Just go in and sign them all.
Just
You know how a
doing
lot
that,
of people try to smuggle toys out? This one was smuggled in.
right? That'd be awesome. Just to get the video of me getting dragged out of Ollie's for autographing all their toys.
Right.
Even stuff I never worked on and don't like. I'm just signing He-Man and Hero Clicks. And don't you know who I am? As they drag me up. Take my credit card, charge me on the way out, and then throw me in the street. That'd be big time.
I'm the Honcho.
Right.
The Honcho.
You'll hear about this on Tuesday.
Are you also wearing a trench coat and a big hat with sunglasses?
Right.
There's an Ollie's just 5 minutes away from here. I mean, it is probably conceivably a walking distance Ollie's. And I still never go check it out because why do I need 16 more copies of the movie figures? Like, I got one set, that's plenty.
Right.
I'm not angry about the movie figures, even though the movie left a little something to be desired. The figures are fine, and yeah, I don't need any more. I'm good.
You need two of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow to display the alternate heads.
I do not.
I'm dropping $5 on
I'm good.
Akiko every time I see her because I still can't believe she didn't die. She's got to be a Highlander or something.
Right. We have to celebrate Akiko's continued life. And since they're not making a sequel to that, she's going to just she's alive for the until the end of time.
It's a cinematic miracle.
Yeah, never once did I watch a trailer and think more. Oh, yeah, that one's toast, right? I mean, it was all but having her tied to a train track, right? Just like
you could practically see the fridge behind her.
Yeah, she's done.
Next news item.
Do.
We're humming along here. We're gonna give ourselves a lot of time for top 10. It's uncovered this week was a cartoon pitch for the G.I. Joe Adventure Team. And details were first uncovered at cybertron.com, but you can see there we've got our basic characters for this Adventure Team pitch. I won't read these are straight off of the site. So really, we've got the link down in the comments below. You can go right to cybertron.com and see everything for it. But it looks like it's done very close to the animation style for Renegades. It would have been the next sequel after the next series after Renegades was canceled. This is early 2010s. And you can see we've got a land adventurer, an air adventurer, a sea adventurer, and then we've got our just adventurer, the female character. She's just kind of the catch-all, the do-all, the lady in the truck, as it were. So, pretty cool stuff, neat ideas. It was going to be treated like a prequel to G.I. Joe, or kind of the common threads of G.I. Joe. It was going to take place before anything connected to Real American Hero era stuff. They had cameos planned by Snake Eyes before he's disfigured on a mission. They had you get to meet car salesman Cobra Commander. You get to see Destro before he's got the metal mask. They are, of course, the enemies there. Mars. They encounter the Baroness was cast as a legal intern who's like working the customer service line. Like anytime the Adventure Team has to deal with the Mars people, the enemies, in a professional setting, they get the Baroness, their legal intern.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Customer service drives you to evil. Right.
Or you have to be evil to do it well.
But it explains why she's mad.
Right. But you can see the tag there. All the pitch art and info are at cybertron.com. The link is down below in the comments. Rob, I know I told you about this earlier this afternoon. Do you have a chance to check it out?
I only got a chance to really just kind of glance at it, but it looked kind of neat. I think I'd have watched this.
Right. I'd have been in.
Yeah.
It was they said it was skewed for the 5 to 11 age group, so it would have been a little younger than we're used to for G.I. Joe stories, honestly. But so long as it's not written dumb, I think that's okay.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the hell out of Phineas and Ferb, and that was for 5 to 11, so whatever.
Where's Perry?
Right.
Rescue Bots was pretty good too.
Mhm.
If you say so, Phil.
Actually, the longest running Transformers series.
Mhm. Rescue Bots was good. It was back when they got Transformers totally organized. So there was Rescue Bots giving way to Prime, giving way to video games, giving way to the movies, I guess, right? But they did a good job. I don't remember another Hasbro brand that stair-stepped that well for a little while.
Right.
Of having some kind of entertainment or engagement along with product for every age of kid. So,
right. And with corresponding merchandise for every step of the way.
yep.
So, God forbid.
That Transformers team was killing it back then. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened to those guys.
I don't know. Probably doing podcasts.
Probably.
We'll never know.
Probably.
Probably slumming it on podcasts.
I used to feel oppressed being the odd man out, but now I got so much company.
He's going to start a second podcast. It's all just laid off Hasbro employees.
Right.
Has-beens. The Hasbro podcast.
I was once special.
Phil, did you get a chance to look at this at all?
Briefly, a few days ago, yeah. It looks interesting. I don't know if it necessarily would have been my cup of tea, but I'd have given it a shot.
Look, man, we all gave the Sigma 6 cartoon a shot.
Yeah.
And that's all it got.
Yeah.
And then it got shot.
Mercifully.
Yeah, they told it about the rabbits.
So if that's the bar, it would have cleared that.
When I made my animation pitch at Hasbro, this was exactly the same thing, at least villain-wise. It was absolutely going to be Mars-centered with Destro as the big bad, at least in season 1. Because I thought it was a really cool way to make G.I. Joe almost anti-war. They were going to places Destro was destabilizing and maybe selling to both sides, trying to incite conflict. And so I thought it was a clever way to make the G.I. Joe team anti-war, kind of. So,
Which is on his original file card. So,
Right.
There you go. Back when they used to make file cards.
yeah.
You say original file card, like there's been an update to that.
Well, I mean, there were other Destro figures that had different file cards.
Yes. We're commenting on the lack of them today.
Yeah.
But now there's cool symbols.
Diana Davis says Sigma 6 because someone said nothing could be worse than Deke and Hasbro said hold our beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Sigma 6 is bad, but that second season of Deke is
They just stopped trying.
That's hard watch.
Yeah, it's yeah. I couldn't get through the end of that either, so it's kind of a tie. At best, it's a tie. Yeah. Zaymot CGC says, I like the D cart. Look, man, we're not here to tell you what to like and don't like. Our opinions are solely our own.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the Deke cartoon, you continue to enjoy the Deke cartoon. Just maybe the days that you're going to sit and watch, don't invite us over those days.
Yeah.
Well, we will hang other days.
I will say this for Deke. At least while Deke was airing, they didn't try to actively retcon it while it was airing.
Mm.
Right. Again, the first season was okay. It wasn't a great show, but at least there was some effort being put in, if inconsistent. But man, that second season, ooh.
I get the feeling
drop in quality.
You get the feeling maybe Zaymot CGC was like, "Come on, brother, let's go watch the Deke cartoon," and Tomax CGC was like, "No, I'm good. Don't need that. Thank you.
Not happening."
But I will psychically feel your pain through our mystic twin connection as you try to watch that thing.
So again, once we're done here tonight, head over to cybertron.com. Follow the link in our comments down below. Hey, while you're looking at the comments down below, be sure to leave a comment down there. Be sure to like the video. provided you like the video. Subscribe to the channel, please. God forbid, just so I can stop asking for subscriptions. Do all those cool YouTube things that people always beg you to do, like me. Because, and you know, I'm not taking any more complaints about me doing the call to action, because every episode where I don't, nobody does those things.
Yeah.
So
Part of the show.
Right. I have no choice. I thought I could trust you guys to just do it on your own. Incorrect.
It's one of those social media things we got to do.
If you're catching us on Facebook tonight, be sure to give us some kind of a reaction. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We do love little huggy guy. We got a few huggy guys in there. The StreamYard actually tells me who gave what kind of Facebook reaction. We made 87 cents from Meta last month.
Nice.
87
Give
cents.
us a like. Give us a little huggy guy. Give us a high five ghost.
If that was a reaction, I'd probably log off just to do that and then come back.
That makes sense.
But anyways, next news item.
Do.
Hey, look at that. Released a couple of weeks ago, G.I. Joe Real American Hero 302. I know we're still in the foamy afterglow of 301, but 302 rolling right out there. Written by Larry Hama, penciled by Chris Mooneyham, colors Francisco Segala. Favorite Denny's meal, Mooneyham over my hammy. Good stuff here. Just kind of a Fallout issue. 301 was a big denouement kind of deal. A lot of dangling action was resolved. And then 302, as you can see, somebody did not make it home alive. I'm not throwing any spoilers out there just yet. Yeah, no, it's been a few weeks. I get you. But considering I haven't even read it front to back yet, I'm not going to spoil that for anybody else just yet.
But we know they own a pair of boots.
Racktime Robs, do you have a spoiler-free review for us?
I liked it. And yes, it's in terms of like who. Yes, there's a funeral. Serpentor Khan resolves to take all of his zombies off the island and invade Springfield.
He's going to get the wrong one, isn't he?
Right? How embarrassing.
Yeah. Springfield, Illinois. Watch out, Dave Draper.
They're all coming to hug Dave.
Right?
They're all coming to hug.
Zombie
They all
hugs.
want that discount.
The cannibal zombie hordes of Cobra Island.
Must save $0. Oh.
Violating personal bubble.
Yeah. Hey, if you want a hint, and if you don't cover your ears, darling, the pallbearers aren't random there. Just saying.
And so that, for the record, that's Stalker, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and I think that's Short Fuse dressed as Snake Eyes.
Short Fuse to do anything to get on the cover.
Hey, I'm still here, guys.
Hey.
Look, I brought Grand Slam with me.
Yeah. In the background, King Kelly trying to sneak onto the cover. Who knew?
King Kill.
Along the same lines, Image and Skybound pushed out Duke #1 on December 27th. This is the one set in the Energon universe with all the robots running around. Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, Jordy Belair, the creative team there. Variant covers are belligerent and numerous, much like Morbo's Offspring. But that was this kicked off the first official G.I. Joe title in the Energon universe. Again, spoiler-free review, Racktime Rob.
Oh, this thing's fantastic. Yeah, Duke is a bit traumatized from witnessing his pilot friend getting smushed by Starscream, and he's upset. The government's trying to cover up the existence of giant robots, so Duke goes rogue.
No, that's an X-Men
wackiness ensues.
Right.
And so yeah, that's not quite spoiler-free, but sure.
Well, you got to do a little bit. I mean, the smushing, happened in Transformers. So,
right.
The going rogue part is already in the solicits for the next issue.
Yeah.
I have not read Duke #1 yet because my comic shop canceled my pull list.
What?
Right. And as a result, they took my copy of Duke #1, put it back on the shelf where somebody else got their grubby hands on it. And I'm in the process of trying to find the manager of our local comic shop to punch him.
So your comic shop's New Year's resolution was to stop making money?
Clearly it was. Apparently new management at the local comic shop. And the new guy's trying to be a hard ass.
Man. Like, there's only one comic shop in town, I'm sure.
No, there's several, but I used to work for the other chain, and I don't like them.
All
He's
right,
not
that's
welcome
fair.
back anymore.
Right?
They,
don't you know who I am?
They decided to hire my replacement and not tell me, and just have him show up at the shift that I was scheduled to work on Sunday, and just say, "Oh, hey, yeah, they said they didn't want you to come in anymore." They made the new guy fire me.
Ooh.
Awkward
So,
for both parties involved.
I still have the key.
Ah,
I didn't ask
that's
for it.
awesome.
I use it to open boxes.
I had a radio station once ask me to train my replacement, but let me stay while I was training her as long as I didn't tell anybody I was being let go, because they thought it would be unpopular with the crew.
Gee, you think?
Man, okay.
That's when you just flip chairs on and stuff on the way out, isn't it?
It was actually, I had no idea it was coming because there was no reason for it. So it gave me access to the edit bays to put together a resume tape. So I had to stay with it. But that was the one at the end of my last update where I told the guy, "Hey, different out this time. Wait for my physical cue." And I said, "If you're up to date, I'm Mark Weber, Sports Talk 980." And then Kaiser Soze goes, and like that, he's gone. And then I cued the guy, got my stuff, and walked out. Got the tape I had just taped that live with, and walked out. Fantastic.
Did you stop to do a pressed ham against the station manager's window?
Right? Should have. But I was pretty proud of that walkout.
Did you break the coffee machine?
No, come on.
Anything?
No, I was good. I always leave well. I got a lot of experience.
Yeah. I wouldn't leave that well. Not something like that. Jesus.
The classy walkout is kind of my thing. Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Mike, I think he just made you want to set someone to fire you.
Right?
Yeah.
That guy got canned.
I mean, the problem with it now is I work from home, so I don't have a classy walkout to do. I suppose if they wanted me to return my equipment, I could just drive past the building downtown and throw it out the window of the car. But my aim isn't that good. Anyways,
I'm telling you, bodysuit guy.
Mark, you'll have to demonstrate a walkout for us.
Right?
I'll go into the tech building downtown with all of my computer gear, wearing only a towel, just to make everybody uncomfortable. I'll act normally and cordially and normally, except I'll be wearing a towel.
That maneuver is
towel fell down. Excuse me a second.
That's called the Nature Boy.
It's the Bellini. It's the Bellini after the character on Kids in the Hall.
Ah, there you go.
There you go.
Hey, just to digress for just a second, a couple guys over in the comments talking about the Deke cartoon. This was something I saw or was articulated really well by a Beast Wars fan on a Transformers page years ago, who just said, "Look, I know it's not the best thing ever, but it's what I saw first, right? It was my first introduction to the brand, and it's what made me fall in love with a brand I'm still in love with. So I'm always going to like it." And that's totally valid. Totally valid. Because back then, man, you might be able to have rented some of the old Sunbow stuff from your local video store, maybe. But it's hard to get the stuff if you missed it. So I can see that for you.
Right.
Look, beleaguered Deke fans. I get it.
That USA Cartoon Express, which mixed Sunbow and Deke together.
Ooh. We're gonna like what we're gonna like. You're allowed to like what you have the same right. We might tease you about it, but it's still allowed to do it.
Yeah.
We ain't mad at you.
Maybe a little.
We're,
That's okay.
we're glad you're here. We don't care. We don't care what brought you in. You're here with us now. That's what we care about.
We're glad Deke didn't scare you off.
Bring your friends. That's all that's all I can say about it. Bring your friends. Next news item.
Do.
Hey, it's the Art of G.I. Joe. Finally, it is out. It's available. It's been hitting our mailboxes.
And mailmen all over the country.
Tensile strength.
Let's be honest. That's not going in anybody's mailbox.
No. It gets dropped off in a big clump outside your door. Look, I'm a large man, and look at the size of this thing against me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and hit the button, but I can't see it. There we go.
That's what they all say.
Look at the size of this thing. So kudos to our good friend Carson, finally getting this done. I was there the first time he started talking about this stuff, as he came on our show during a live panel at JoeCon. So it's with a special sense of pride that I hold this book now, as my friend has finished his glorious project. I can't get this thing back.
Hey, what do we do?
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Man.
I can't. I'm botching my tribute to Carson right there. But congratulations to Carson on achieving, got to be 10, 11 years of just continuous effort to get from the plans he had originally right after he set up 3djoes.com all the way through collecting this stuff and the first series of softcover books, and now we got the ultimate monstrosity. And I say that with all the love in the world. Good job, man. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And I have not had the chance to really leaf through it. My copy is still wrapped, obviously. Racktime Rob, I don't know what his is up with, but we will get there at some point this week during the wee hours of my night shifts, and flip through and just enjoy the fruits of your labors. Again, our hats are off to you, sir. Mark Weber, your thoughts?
I love the post-breakup Scarlet look there as she's side-eyeing Duke right on the cover, right? That's awesome. and when I saw the first, when you hold up the gigantic book, it's about time Mike's OG favorite Flash got top billing on something, right? Like you cannot miss the red chest protector jumping off the tank right at you.
Well,
so
he's got a jump pack on, so he's just flying in front of the tank. But I think since they put out that collector's case, I think that was the last time.
Yeah.
Was that collector's case older than Operation Mind Menace? I don't know.
That's a good question.
The most visually striking figure in that first wave, and forgotten about so quickly.
But I like even the art selections here on the cover, right? I love that he has, there's Ron Rudett, dun, 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 right up top. There's Vinny DeLeva over there, bum, ba, da, ba. I mean, it's a little inside. It's not inside baseball, but that's what I noticed right away was, hey, look at those two guys right up top. That's pretty cool.
And nary a snake eyes to be seen.
Right? You don't need them to sell the book. But yeah, and Rapcho down there in the lower left is always good. Ordering some nachos for Rapcho, all good. And then Falcon, of course, right? Because that's Carson's absolutely favorite guy.
Yeah, he's got to be there.
I expected him to be about 5 times bigger than that, but okay. He showed restraint, and I respect that.
I feel bad for Carson in that respect, and that that's his favorite character. And they have yet to put out a figure that even close to compares to the one that came out in 1987.
Yeah. If you switch the head, though, it's not too bad.
No, it's fine. It's nothing special, I don't think. But it's fine. But that 87 one is far and away the best Falcon toy still.
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. Except
Um,
for the Sonic Falcon, which is amazing.
but yeah, Dennis Fleming says price by the pound.
I hope. Oh, no, hope not.
No. No. You
It's
can head
20
over to
pounds.
Yeah, you head over to 3djoes.com. It is a solid 18 and some pound book.
Yeah.
3djoes.com. It is available for pre-order again. I believe they're doing a second print. I don't know the specifics on it. It is $150. It's a big ask, but it's a hell of a lot of book.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of book and a lot of artwork and a lot of information.
It's a beautiful book.
It is fantastic. It cannot endorse it enough. Having, being Carson's pal and seeing the work that he's put into it, and there's been times I've been chatting with him at 3 and 4 in the morning because he's doing book work. Right? Dude, go to bed. I'm up because somebody's paying me.
Right.
You need to go to bed. But yeah, it just again, a wonderful effort and labor of love. And if you yeah, just fantastic. I have no words.
Yeah. I got mine down here. It's just too heavy to pick up. So
Right. You don't want to potentially kill the dog if you drop it.
Right down here. Yep.
As Bart says, it's a book that can double as a tombstone. And that is correct. That is absolutely. It is ginormous.
Makes a phone directory jealous.
I can't wait for part 2.
Part 2. Let Carson get some sleep.
Nah.
Diana Davis said, somehow I really did end up with 2. What you need is a third, because then you could put the 2 of them and then stack the third one on top.
Stonehenge.
Make a G.I. Joe Stonehenge. Thanks for jumping all over my punchline again. Because God forbid I don't want to talk on my own show or anything.
Oh, my own show.
Are there leprechauns going to dance around it while a metal band plays?
I like where this is going. This is going to be a good show. Sounds like an AbsorbVids video.
Jeff Butler says, fun fact, I'm in one of the photos inside the front cover. All right. Well, we'll take a look.
I'm in one of the photos inside the back cover.
Well, you took a lot of the still photos for 3D Joe's, man. I would hope so. I hope at least get your name in there.
It is. It's in there 4 times. I've counted.
All right. Anybody have any rambling diatribes for Carson like I did?
I think you rambled pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it's a beautiful book.
Coworker tore a page today.
Oh my God. Did you fight them?
She refunded me. I did not ask for that.
She tore like all the
Phil,
way.
I didn't
It's
ask
like about
you
that much.
I didn't ask you if she made compensate. Did you fight her?
I was on the other side of a desk directly in line with the security camera. So
did you fight her?
Yeah.
Legally speaking, no.
Oh my God, Phil. Oh my God, Phil. No.
Really, I'm just impressed Phil got it into work because it's heavy.
Matt Rubin, that'd be a dead coworker.
Yep.
Yes.
Time to spit in the coffee. Just saying.
I would not be taking it into work, but that's just me.
How do you take it into work, right? With a shoulder strap or
right.
In a cart?
Forklift?
Furniture dolly.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he put wheels on the bottom of it and ride it in? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I again rented a truck. I don't know. But Andrew Gaugan, on the advice of his counsel, Mike, he cannot answer that question. He doesn't have counsel. He's broke.
You think proton packs grow on trees? Come on now.
Next news item.
Do.
Hey, this is what we were up to over the break. You guys have been not so good about watching Special Edition 89. You've been very good about watching Special Edition 90. Or I guess really the Pixel Dan fans have been really good about it. So go watch our special editions. Again, we try to put this stuff out there for you so you're entertained while we take the occasional week off. And then nobody watches. So it makes me very sad. So go ahead and check out Special Edition 89. That's our Christmas Day episode featuring Robert Clark Chan of Knowing Is Half the Podcast. And then, of course, Special Edition 90, where we talk to Pixel Dan about his personal Jonasons. And then, of course, both episodes, strangely enough, we go off into wrestling.
Yes. Hey, did Phil actually go to Disneyland? Like during the show?
I'm refusing to let him back in because he did not punch his coworker for tearing his book.
Oh my God! Lighten up, Francis. Let him back in.
I refuse.
Oh, he was leaving.
Hey, the swap.
I was
going to go take a break.
Stevens Big Spender said, send Phil back to Disneyland. There we go.
Like that's a punishment.
So go check out those episodes. Come on now. But next news item. That's it. Of course, that's it. Be sure to check out the 3D G.I. Joe 3D printing podcast. Featuring all of the latest Chunky Tank Kitty news. You can see him there proudly displaying his Meowler tank in parade formation. Hopefully we'll be getting to see the Chunky Tank Kitty version 2.0 coming soon. Oh! Book fell over.
The Patriot Chunky. Much bigger.
My omnibus hardcover fell over and now it's in the basement apartment.
Is there any casualties from this?
I'm afraid to look. I can't hear any screaming. So hopefully it was just a quick
there wouldn't be any screaming. It's too quick for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was just a quick death.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if it hit somebody dead on, like dead solid center, the whole body could be obscured by the book.
There's no point in panicking about it because I can't help those people.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Just let us know if you hear any sirens in the distance.
Matt Rubin said, see, kicking Phil or Markoff isn't that big a deal, but Rob can just run in behind Mike and still be on the show. No, because behind me is the outer wall of the apartment. So he can run around in front of me and you still can't see him. Immediately to my left is the couch. So he's not running around over there either.
Right. If that book had fallen the other direction, this is a good point from Jeff Butler. How many beachheads could have been murdered by Carson's book?
Yeah, how many beachheads are in danger? None. It's that case is also on the floor and a different part of the room. So there's a couple of them on the desk here, but that's for later.
Someday they're gonna all just tie you down to the floor, and you're gonna go, "Why did I see this coming?"
Yeah. I wasn't doing anything else, so why not? I ain't concerned.
Going out like Gulliver.
Rob says he's in my room touching all my stuff. It just shows you he's telling stories. I don't have any stuff. Cleaning the toilet with his toothbrush. So that's that humming noise.
Yeah, just don't touch his drum set, Rob. In his beat laboratory.
Oh God.
See? Derek and Matt know what I'm talking about.
That's the news. We'll be right back for tonight's main event after a quick word from our wonderful sponsors at Kokomo Toys.
We buy.
Did it just blink out on me?
Yeah,
Yes, it did.
go again.
Did too.
We buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
Mark Webber, what time is it?
I don't know.
Howdy doody time.
Web o'clock.
Well, it's always Web o'clock, but
Yeah.
it's time for the top 10 G.I.
Oh,
Joe news stories of
that's right.
2023.
Top 10. And
Woo!
nothing more. If you were number 11, forget it. You should have worked harder.
Yeah, right. And we will talk a little bit about some of the others getting votes because we had some curious selections in that regard.
You're welcome.
Yeah. This is the easy one, so to speak. It's just the four of us. We made a list of the 10 news stories we thought were the most important in G.I. Joe. A first place finish got a 10 points, second place 9, and so on and so forth. We added up those points, and the top vote getters, point talliers, I should say, found their way onto this list.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Cheapest
Scientific.
Big Spender asks if the main event is Mike versus Rob for a drum set. Funny, neither of us were drummers. Neither of us. I played trombone and Rob was a clarinetist.
Nerds.
Let us hear a drum set.
Oh. No, our folks did not. They were not kosher with that. They were not down with that.
Yeah. That's the words a parent least wants to hear. Well, it's a tie between I want to try hockey and I think I want to play the drums. Both just parent killers. Just,
right.
Oh. You thought 3 Blind Mice on the recorder was bad? Oh, man. Imagine your kid being bad on the drums for a couple of years.
Right.
You have them train at the local Y.
Anyways, on with the list.
Problem.
Number 10. The huge number of G.I. Joe classified releases. Over 60 classified figures got pumped out onto the market this year, which is a huge
Insane.
number. Well, in 2022, that number was about 30, 35, something like that. So it's double the amount. And it was difficult for a lot of folks to keep up. That's a lot of money, especially when the cost of each figure went up as well. Standard cost cost of a standard figure went from around $20 to around $25, and that's no small potatoes when you multiply it out by 60. But Rack Time Rob, this was one of your deals. Why was this so important?
Well, from 2020 to 22, the number of figures numbered about 60. And then last year, he added another 60. It was just something I noticed as I was going over, the stuff for the top 10 figures coming soon.
Right. That's next week. We're not here to rank figures just yet.
Yes, I know.
We're still tallying. I'm letting the folks at home know.
Yeah.
And Lord knows that list, that episode, next week's episode is going to be the Wild Freaking West. So get ready.
There will be blood.
Get ready for that one. But Mark Webber, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this was, I didn't think of this as a specific news story, but it was a massive development and hard as it was to catch up. And I think when you're exhausting the fan base, when they're not buying things they'd like to have because they can't afford them at initial price, you may have overstepped a little bit. But coming from the inside the walls there at Pawtucket, it's always a fight for item count. So the fact that they were willing to allocate this much to the G.I. Joe line shows that they have a lot of faith in it. They like what it's doing. And so it's good for the brand that Hasbro believes in it this strongly. But they may have gone. They may have dialed it up to 11, right? So hopefully we can see a little course correction next year. Because, like I've always said, there's no wrong way to collect, and no one can tell you, if your collection is complete or not, except yourself. But if you frustrate a diehard collector, they don't usually cut back. They usually stop altogether. And it is a collector mindset. So the frustrated G.I. Joe collector will decide, I'm just going to do Transformers now, or I'm just going to do He-Man, or old baseball card. Collectors very rarely stop collecting altogether, but they do change their focus from time to time if you give them a reason. And this was a reason. And almost every collectible business understands the value of what, I'm sure other businesses use the same term, but what Topps calls the whales, right? Essentially, the collectors who buy everything. They're super valuable, but they're only a small slice of the overall pie. But you don't want to be driving those guys and gals away. And I think they did that a little bit this year. I think this was a little much. So we'll see how they react in 2024.
Yeah. Rachel Salinas asks, how many will we get in 2024? I'm going to say at least 60. I don't think they're going to slow it down this year.
The funny thing is, Rachel, we don't always spoil the whole next year's releases. So we don't know how many are coming out this year, right?
Right.
Every once in a while, we'll just tell you everything that's coming out ahead of time. But this year, we're letting it be a surprise. Spoilers for you guys.
Right. I hope the fact that they're doing vehicles inclines them to slow down on some of the other releases a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I can't, I'm stretched out as it is on this stuff. I can't add to that budget anymore.
Well, and a lot of collectors are also army builders on some level, right?
Right.
Maybe you don't need 80 heat vipers, because who needs 80 blowtorches? But I like for a classic troop builder, I like 3. I like to have 3. But I don't know that I could keep that up this year, because your third guy is $25.
Right.
So, anyway, but yeah, it was a huge development. It's a really good point.
Which brings us to number 9. Joe Colton and the Wristlock released their exclusive 1/1 Mango Habanero.
Yeah.
This wound up on the list of the Honcho and myself. Phil and Rob hate children and hate Joe Colton.
I mean, it's true.
How could you guys skip this with all that articulation?
Internal armatures, they're not reliable.
Even comes with what's on Joe Mine gear. I mean,
you guys sold out, man.
Look, I wish we could sell out. I'd sell out tomorrow if somebody was paying.
We'll shill for food.
Right?
Absolutely. Wait.
Speaking of, this broadcast is brought to you by a Mountain Dew Livewire.
They ain't giving us anything. You cut that out. They ain't giving us nothing. I'm taking you out. We ain't shilling for them because they ain't giving us no cash.
If you want that refreshing, you got to pay out the bucks.
By the way, that was a comma, not a period. If you haven't tried Mountain Dew Livewire, don't. It's pretty friggin' terrible. but it's what's within arm's reach. So drink it.
Well, now you'll never get that sponsorship.
There we go. We'll turn it. Wait. There we go.
Torpedo Mike asks 9. And yeah, it'd have been higher, but again, Phil and Rob hate babies and hate Joe Colton.
Man.
I'm just not cheapening their blessed event, for your tawdry site.
I believe this is the biggest crossover event in What's on Joe Mine history.
Yeah, I concur.
There's too much commercialism, man.
Wrestling royalty with the queen of G.I. Joe cosplay? Come on now.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the junior partners, Mark. Disappointed.
Ironically, though, the word on the street is that Mango Habanero now cries whenever she sees a Christmas tree.
I would doubt that. I would think there's something second nature to her by this point.
I think they were invading her reality at a very young age. So,
yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling that kid's gonna think it's weird when people don't have 20 Christmas trees.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to be growing up on the set of a Rankin Bass special. I mean,
Yeah. There's no normalcy.
Toys.
This was her first Christmas. There is no normalcy for her to compare this to. This is the standard.
I don't know if she understood the whole that this is Christmas thing. I think she's because Christmas in Joe's house lasts like 5 months, right?
Yeah, by the time they get all the trees away, yeah.
Yeah, at least the
I
clip.
believe this was more of a home invasion of the tree variety, right?
Right. Well, again, this is normal. This is normal.
It is now. She probably thinks this is how the house is going to be from now on.
Right. But so yes, item number 9, news story number 9, mango habanero. Again, little one, welcome to the world. We're sorry.
Fair.
We're coming up on an election year, so that's a valid statement.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to number 8. Oh God, it's the Hiss Tank. Or more specifically, Hasbro Pulse delivering on both the Sky Striker and the Hiss HasLabs. Remember, Sky Strikers were delivered last January, so beginning of the year. We bookended the year with HasLab releases.
Right.
Bill Donnelly,
Yes.
you're the guest host. We might as well ask you once what's going on. Your thoughts on the Hasbro Pulse HasLab releases?
Yeah, well, it was great to actually get them in hand and see the sense of scale because, you're only seeing pictures of them and you just never really realize how much toy you have until you actually have it. And the fact that everybody was experiencing this pretty much at the same time, that's like kind of a community event.
Right. And same with the Sky Striker, right? Like the Sky Striker, obviously it's not so much big. Like we were ready for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it is cool when you have several thousand of your closest collector friends all doing the same thing at the same time. I think that's what makes it newsworthy.
Yeah. And, it's rare that happens. Like, I know I get it when a new wave comes out, you always have the picture, hey, we all got this up. But then you have the people who are, who bought it off of China a month and a half earlier to get the bragging rights of first in. But the HasLab, it's all or nothing.
Mark Weber, Small Batch Network, wants to note that he is enjoying that Marauders barbecue that you sent him.
That's right, man. Sweet barbecue.
Send photos to whatsonjoemind@gmail.com.
Pleasure doing business with you. And you should feel grateful that I selected you out of the hundreds of people who reached out to me.
Spoiled for choice, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see Rob there. It's bigger than a house cat. So that's kind of the space investment you have to make there. It's like if you adopted a cat. Granted, the stuff on your shelves is a lot safer, but
I don't have to worry about kitty litter.
But space wise, that's kind of what you're dealing with.
And if you got the Sky Striker, it's pretty much the size of your old Sky Striker. There you go.
Right. Again, there were fewer surprises there.
Yeah. I was surprised that they didn't bother to make it any bigger, but
I think it's slightly bigger.
Yeah, slightly accent on slightly.
But it didn't need to be any larger, really. It's fine. Like I don't need it to be the authentic scale.
No, but
it's still a toy.
It could be like 3 feet long at a proper scale.
Yeah, like the actual scale of the aircraft would have been just ginormous.
Yeah, I don't need it to be actual scale, but when they never showed it legit up against its predecessor 1-to-1, right? That made me as nervous as looking at those faraway pictures of selfie figures, right? Of people going, "Wow, it looks just like me." Okay.
Andrew Galgan, throw out your cat if you want to hiss, says What's on Joe Minds, Mike Irizarry.
There you go.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
Because as we know, I fight with cats.
Meow. 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 Meow.
That's right.
Like that cat was a bit of a hiss tank.
Right. He's a big boy. He's not as big as he once was. The folks did a good job of getting a little weight off of him, but he's a big boy. But cheapest big spender notes. Honcho is wearing the same shirt today as in the picture. I might be too. I don't know. I've blocked myself out with the number 8.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Yeah,
classic.
it's blue there.
Yeah. My gray Under Armour cardigan. It's very comfortable. It actually hangs on the back of this chair in case I get cold because I'm an old man.
Right. Same thing with this for me. It's just it's what's kept on the chair, the kitchen chair, because I sit right by the window and sometimes it gets cold over here.
That's it. I just need my shawl and my knitting,
right,
and my stories up on the television, and I'm good to go.
Don't forget the pince nez glasses.
Oh, good idea.
The large mug of tea that you have to hold with 2 hands.
Mm-hmm.
2 shaky hands.
But yeah. So the Hasbro Pulse delivery on the Sky Striker and the Hiss, number 8, which brings us to number 7.
Shocker.
Vehicles join G.I. Joe Classified at non-HasLab retail, led by the Vamp, and we get to see Clutch posing dramatically there with his serif font number 7, which I believe is the listed co-pilot for the Vamp.
Ooh,
7.
Clutch and 7.
Clutch and 7.
Mark's spin-off show, What's on Joe Chair?
Ooh. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Chicken.
But, Mark Weber.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on these general release vehicles?
I mean, I think this is a big deal because when we originally started talking about what's the first HasLab going to be for Classified, Vamp was kind of our favorite pick, right?
Right. We really didn't think they would go as big as they did.
No, not at all. And the Hiss isn't that much. The traditional classic original release Hiss isn't that much bigger than the Vamp, but the Classified Hiss is going to be a monster compared to the Vamp, I think.
Yeah.
But we didn't think they'd go even after it came out. We thought after they announced the Hiss, we thought the Vamp might be next, and we got the Dragonfly. So it's kind of cool that the HasLab stuff we're getting is much bigger than we thought the ceiling would be, at least for the first couple, and that what's sort of a medium scale vehicle they're actually willing to test at standard retail. So, and it looks fantastic. Clutch looks great. Like there's nothing, and even the $100, I think it's about the $100 price point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That seems eminently reasonable to me, considering the figure is worth $25 on its own. So I'm all over this, and the repaint possibilities are ridiculous. So
the only thing that troubles me about the Hiss and these vehicles are when they were first revealed to us, it was as a retail item, and then when it came time to actually pre-order the Hiss, it is strictly Hasbro Pulse, which I guess technically is retail. So it's a little troubling that even after all the success that Classified has had, retailers still don't want to bite on large items from it. Like that's worrying. So I know I'm finding the fly in the ointment, and we're all just whatever, we'll get it through Pulse and we'll all be happy with it. But it leads me to think that unless this thing is just a gangbusters seller, we're not going to see a bunch of vehicles. I think we're going to see a lot of Vamp mutations and stuff. It's just not going to be the flood of vehicles that folks are hoping for.
They may have to try harder with their next small vehicle pack, right? Given that the Baroness, I assume, sold well because it's the Baroness, but that coil cycle was nothing special. The Ram was cool, and I think it sold well. But if they're gonna convince retailers to carry the bigger vehicles, they're gonna need more vehicle hits. So obviously this was a bridge too far, which as you pointed out, is a shame because it's $100, and it's sizable, I think, and comes with a unique figure. I think this would have sold well at retail, but
Right.
I
mean,
nobody bid on it.
You have to think Target's happy.
Mhm.
I mean, Target's been the place where all these vehicles have gotten to this point, right? Target's where the coil cycle was sold. It's where the Ram was, the Tiger Force Ram, the Tiger Force, or the Python Trouble Bubble, all through Target. So you'd think at least Target might be on board with this, but no.
Yeah, the only vehicle that didn't go through Target was the original Trouble Bubble.
And back when I was working on Transformers, there were businesses or brick and mortars that wouldn't take like Metroplex, the Titan, $150 Transformer for the end of the year, but they would carry them online. So they would sell them, so they didn't have to stock them or make room for them on the shelves. They just shipped them direct from their DCs. So it's kind of interesting and a little bit troubling that no one even went that far. Right, to carry it online, or maybe Hasbro didn't want that competition. I don't know, but
maybe. I mean, I don't think it speaks poorly of classified necessarily, but maybe of just where the toy business is as a whole right now. I don't know. I don't know. Just things to mull around because you're a marketing guy. I'm trained as a marketing guy, even though I never went to work in that field. These are the questions that pop into my head. And that leads us to number 6. Unless you guys have Rob, Phil, I'm going kind of brief on discussion on some of these just because I want to save it for the big ones at the end. But unless you guys have any real stick out thoughts on this one, I'll move on.
Nope.
Okay. All right. That takes us to number 4. We have a 3-way tie at number 4.
Oh wow!
So we 5 and 6 are right out.
Right
Screw you, 5 and 6. So tied for 4th is the failure of the Super 7 Cobra Mothership, as you can see from our incredibly tasteful news presentation a few weeks back.
Super 7 ain't coming on the show anytime soon, man.
Right. Once again, I have blocked myself out with the number 4. But you can see there, that was the final backer count out of the 4,000 necessary. On December 11th, as we see the exploding Cobra Mothership hitting the dirt in the opening of the 1985 G.I. Joe cartoon. It's dominant moments in pop culture, realized in real time. Well, I hate to keep beating a dead horse on this, Mark, but you're the pro. So talk to us about what this failure means.
I mean, I love that they tried it. I wish the whole campaign had been a little tighter, a little more exciting, right? Like it was just kind of like, bleh, here it is. And there wasn't much to spur you along. Surprise reveals as you go, extra bonuses. They could have held back some of the initial stuff and released them as bonuses along the way. I think and again, hindsight's always 20/20. But in the end, I think it was a tough time of year. And in a year where the Joe collector's wallet was stretched really thin. And the biggest thing it had going for it, pun intended, was the size of it. It was just friggin' huge. And in the end, sadly, because I was the one in 1661, sadly, it didn't go through. And it'll make Super 7 and anybody else out there think twice before they dig that deep or go that grand with any kind of perspective item. Because they didn't make it. They didn't lose money on it. But boy, a lot of work went into it to not get made.
Right.
So nobody should be happy that it didn't work. I agree that they could have done a better job, and there are things I assume that they wish they had done differently. But they've had some other big ticket stuff that did fund, and this one didn't. And that's anything that doesn't happen is probably bad for the brand. So it is a shame that this one didn't find more traction. But the market decides, right? Vote with your wallet. And by and large, at least at the time frame they pitched this, the fans said no, pretty convincingly. So
Mike Case notes that Super 7 should have done that rad snake-headed plane from Revenge of Cobra instead of the mothership. That would have been badass.
mm-hmm. Or the Aspid, right? The blue troop dropper helicopter that people have been whistling about for a long time. If they'd have done that for 120, for 150, that thing sings. But
yeah, I don't know. I think that one's kind of plain too. I'd have been on board with snake-headed plane because that's distinctive, right? That like you see that thing coming and it says, "Oh, this is a wacky G.I. Joe, super plane." I'd have been on board that one, but it probably would have been the same general price point, maybe a little less expensive, and not as many bells and whistles. Because I mean, that mothership wasn't so much a ship as it was a base, like the old Terradrome almost. But again, huge ask, right? It was $500 for the plane itself, and then they were charging you $100 to ship on top of it. They had all those crew figures available, but that was another $75 per set of figures.
Yeah.
Just a huge ask in the middle of a Christmas season.
And they were asking for money up front.
Right, money up front in the middle of a Christmas season when dollars were already stretched because we're just all stuck in this inflation cycle and our dollars just aren't going as far as they normally would anyway. Just a little tone deaf. Again, you wait for the spring on this one. I think you do a little better because tax refunds start showing up. You wait until March and you run this in March, and I think you have a shot at it.
Or even right now for the adult collector, a lot of us put out a lot of cash up front in December and November for things we're buying for people for the holidays. And a lot of times you come out of Christmas with some cash in your pocket, right?
Right.
And so if they did the exact same campaign right now, I guarantee it would have done better. I don't know if it would have done 4,000 people, but right now we don't really know that much that's coming down the road for classified. So, and it's money up front. You might have got more people to jump on now and then felt the pinch maybe later on, but wouldn't hurt Super 7. I just think there was unfortunately time.
I also wonder if it's Hasbro cannibalizing their own audience with that 60 figure release in 1 year, meaning there's less money left over for all the licensees, where you get Super 7 with their Ultimates line or their 5POA reaction line, and even you get we had the Bertinelli stuff or the RPG games. If people want to focus on G.I. Joe, they're going to focus on the main releases, and the other stuff is what you can afford. And if you can't afford much outside your main releases, you're going to start hurting those products.
I think your role playing crowd, it's a little bit of a different. It's a different enough product that there isn't necessarily. You're not worried about crossover there. Like your G.I. Joe fans that collect figures and like RPGs, they haven't been spending that RPG money on G.I. Joe for however many years. So they're more competing with that clump of cash, so to speak. But that's the leap of faith when you license a toy from a toy company, right? That is actively putting out product. I mean, because obviously Hasbro's happy to take your money to let you use that license, but they're not rooting for your product to go into all those shopping baskets ahead of theirs.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to help you with anything else. They're not even going to give you a mention, I mean, they'll give you a mention on those reveal videos, but nothing past that. I was stunned when some of those Super 7 reaction figures turned up on Pulse.
Yeah.
And I think it's more that the reaction line might be starting to run out of gas a little bit, but whatever. Again, I haven't seen any figure. That's just me me making a guess on things. I don't want to make it sound like I know anything because I don't. But
Just a hunch.
yeah, just again especially with the news of O-ring figures coming, I can't imagine that those reactions are going to move at all until they start showing up with full articulation. But
I bet those I bet those O-rings will be on the Pulse website too.
Yeah, but
Honolulu!
first wave of them was announced. It was Classic Duke, Classic Scarlet, Sunbow Cover Girl, and Ramar, the 10-foot giant guy that Duke fights in the arena of sport. I'm excited for Giant Ramar. He better be huge.
and managed by Jinder Mahal. It's going to be great. Yeah.
Like Diane Simmons said to Peter Griffin, you better be huge. When she thought he was a male prostitute. That's right. That's right. I went there. You better be huge.
I thought he was Fred Garvin.
Hey, if you want to split a case, Mike, you could have the Remar guy all to yourself. We can make that work. I'll even sign it for you.
First name James.
I have too much Mark Webber signed stuff. Like I'm trying to run my own black market fencing operation on that.
That's like Bob Feller baseball cards. The ones that aren't autographed are more valuable.
Right.
At least he was nice enough to sign.
Right.
No, good guy, right?
If you find any Pete Rose memorabilia that doesn't have Pete Rose's signature on it, you hang on to it.
That's right.
So, any thoughts on the mothership, guys? Anything before we move on?
No, I mean this is kind of why I thought the number of figures was a big deal. So
You've kind of blown it up,
figuratively and literally.
Mm-hmm.
Also tied at number 4, Super 7 announcing O-ring reaction figures for 2024. And we just talked about the first wave there, but folks seem to be really excited about this. This seems like it's a real positive thing for them. I hope it does well and we get to see several waves. Looks like the retail cost on the in the system that I think they found them in Target system at $20.49.
Interesting.
Per figure. So close to that $20 price point. But so mission accomplished, I guess, in regards to keeping it close. I hope that they move enough that we get to see several waves. Like I said, I need Sunbow Flash. I need ugly ass Sunbow Airborne with his weird powder blue uniform.
I want to see them make a Sunbow Grand Slam and see how that would work.
Right.
What was different about Sunbow Flash? I don't even remember.
The pads were different, and it was just very subtle. It's one of those where if you look at him, you see that he's Flash, but he looks different enough from the main figure that it would be worthwhile to have both.
Technically, there were 2 different Sunbow Flashes because the Masters Ice used commercial footage from the commercials in the intro. So there's one that looks a lot like his figure in one shot, but then when you see the actual character model in the animation, he's a lighter green than Grunt would be. His pads are there, but they're not as densely squared off as they were in the commercial. And it's more flat and not as textured, but it's still there.
I'm still surprised that I don't think anyone's ever done a Sunbow Breaker, right? Because he was that dark, really dark green or greenish blue almost.
Yeah, almost. It was like gray blue kind of. Yeah.
I wanted to do that. That was on the list. But why didn't that happen? Oh, yeah. Never mind.
I want to do the superhero costume Airborne, which came out of nowhere.
Right. And only showed up sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes there's an actual.
Yeah, if he had speaking lines, he got the weird blue. If he was just in the background, they'd animate him correctly.
I'm really excited for this because Super 7 has done a good job of finding those diamonds, right? The stuff that never got made or has been overlooked. And you can see it in that first line, right? Who knew we were going to get Raymar with Occam and whatever? Like, come on.
That's Razor, and that's a different guy.
whatever. Either way,
That's a different guy.
Either way,
Let's get
I mean,
Cool Breeze and Mangler, baby.
that's exactly where they should be. Again, if it's a 4-person line, it should be one of the 4, right? One of them, make that wild card, make that Professor Apple, that Bongo the Balloon Bear. I mean, there's some big Dr. Venom would sell like crazy to the kind of fan who's buying O-ring G.I. Joes in 2024. You should absolutely give them a Dr. Venom.
Yeah, I need to see Dr. Venom and Quinn and yeah, I need those guys before I need Mangler and Cool Breeze. I want Sparks. I want Colonel Sharp. I need
Flag.
I need chubby General Flag. I need comic General Flag. I need chubby Admiral Ledger from the cartoon. I need those guys before I need Mangler and Cool Breeze. Mangler, who is so bland it hurts, and Cool Breeze, who is so complicated he was ironic.
Yeah.
What about the orange and purple green shirts from Deke?
No. I mean, whatever. We're going to head that way, I'm sure. But didn't Deke also have like camouflage green shirts?
That was in the miniseries, but I
yes,
think
Bill,
they were reusing.
I know that it was in the miniseries, but I think Deke also used those guys.
Yeah,
and
I think those were reused Sunbow models.
If you're comparing 1989 Joe prices to what they should cost now, remember that plastic is petroleum based. So let's compare the price of gasoline in 1989 to right now. If you're trying to think about what toys should cost.
Right. It's anytime you're trying to figure out inflation on costs, it's a very generalized kind of math, right?
Yeah.
Like and the more specific you get with it, the worse that math turns out. Because I've always heard that the value of the dollar tends to double every 18 years. So you double it after 18, and then if another 18 happens, you double it again. But as Mark says, with a petroleum product, throw it out the window because the price of petroleum is incredibly up and down.
We don't know for sure what this does to Super 7's other G.I. Joe stuff, right? Is it hard stop on their other lines?
I have a feeling it's the end of the reaction stuff.
I would think so.
Because
they haven't made anything official.
Right. I don't think they've said anything to that end, but it would that's them pricing their own market out.
Yeah.
Like that would be dumb.
Yeah.
I don't think it means anything on Ultimates. I think Ultimates they put the brakes on that for a little bit to get caught up. Because those that we were waiting for so long for the first couple of waves on those that I think they just wanted to get
You're
production
pushing 2 years on some of them now, some of those waves.
Right. I mean, the first wave just came out this year.
Yep. I got a bat back there.
It's for a long time, that convention bat was the only Ultimate out. Like even wave 1 was delayed past that one. So anyways, we're all excited for Super 7's O-Ring figures. Who's your number 1 that you want to see, Mark?
Geez. I think it would be Dr. Venom. I think he's a huge win. He was such a big part of the comic, and I believe their license includes Sunbow and the comic, right? So
again, they did Quinn in reaction. So
yeah. So whatever they want. For me, it's Dr. Venom. I think he's great, and I think he gives a different look, right? You could put him up there with the Cobra hierarchy, and he looks different in that all white, businessman suit under. Yeah, I'm down with that. Dr. Venom.
Yeah, I'm right with you in that. Mine is that jungle khaki Quinn. I need, I know they got him in that 3-pack, and I know he showed up in 25th. Yeah, but he had a little tiny head, so I want like an actual good O-ring Quinn. How about you, Rob?
I'm gonna say, General Flag, just so we can get everybody who died in issue 19 3-pack.
Ooh.
Phil?
Oh, geez. I've been thinking. Honestly, it probably would be someone like Cool Breeze or something. It's just terrible because the one-off.
Oh,
No, I give him. What's the one you want? And he gives me Cool Breeze. He's out. He's out. He's out.
Even Honda Lou would have been a better choice.
He's not out. We will let him in.
I like to point out that there pretty much is a Honda Lou already out there.
Mm.
But it's O-ring based. But yeah, it's just
Second
a Wrangler jeans figure.
just occurred to me, Shooter would be really cool as an
Oh,
O-ring,
yeah.
right? If you want to complete the 013, like, or the 014. Just saying.
And Dustin Jeffrey wins. Tiger Force Tollbooth.
Such a good idea.
We're unmasked Cobra Commander with the mustache and beret.
Yeah.
That
It's a
would be
raspberry beret.
Oh
I'd be
yeah,
all over
yeah,
that
with the mod Deathstroke. Yeah, make that a 2-pack.
That would be fantastic. But, and up next, tied at number 4 as well. Real American Hero 301 sells out and goes for a second printing. G.I. Joe's always been a consistent seller, or was always a consistent seller for IDW. Never really lit the racks on fire, but was a good steady 5,000 to 7,000 per issue. Man, this move to Skybound. Apparently, waiting that year was a good thing because everybody got their appetites wet, and G.I. Joe 301, out at the distributor level, gone to second printing, and those should be out soon. Rack Time Rob, you're the comics guy. Do we have a figure on this yet? I know those are harder to come by these days.
Yeah,
I did see somewhere where it did say a figure.
I thought I saw something too, and I think I think it's somewhere in between 150, 200, but I don't remember exactly what.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bleeding Cool News says over 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that with a pinch of salt. But the fact that it's a huge success can't be overstated there.
Mhm.
Although that might have been the Transformers numbers, and G.I. Joe selling a little less, but not that much.
No, that was the 301.
Yeah.
So sold out at the distributor level. So there isn't even more coming there. If you're getting it at this, you're jumping on late, you're getting the second printing.
And apparently their 75 variant cover strategy works.
Man, I don't get that. I've never got that. Oh.
Yeah, but Doug Dello, my local owner wants to know where all the G.I. Joe buyers were during the IDW run. Yeah, I mean, good question. Good question.
I think a lot of that just comes from IDW really just kind of farting along with it.
Right.
I thought LCBS stood for Lazy Custom Bastard Stooge, but
Local comic book store.
It's ironic because Mike's local comic book store has been giving him the BS lately.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't even
The
leave me a phone.
LBCBS.
Didn't even leave me a message saying they were going to do it. I had to get there for them to tell me.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bad business.
That's incredible.
And they must have done that between Wednesday and Saturday because, like usual, they almost handed me your books on Wednesday when I went.
Yeah, I might just, if they do that, I would just say take them and I'll just pay you back.
Yeah, I thought about but everybody said, "Oh, he'll be in."
Yeah.
Man, I had trouble getting them added to my pull list because I was asking about them, weeks ahead of time. Make sure these get added to my pull list, and they didn't. So I thought I had a beef, but Newberry Comics out here orders enough that there's plenty on the back order or the back issue shelf. So I didn't miss anything.
Right.
And I made sure to remind them, hey, Cobra Commander's coming up. I want to make sure that in the pull box, please. You put it in there, I give you money for it. It works.
But we do want to give a congratulations to Diana Davis. She is the advisor on the book for the Hamill line. She does not track sales numbers, but excellent job. Good job.
Yeah.
Outstanding work.
Congratulations on the sellout.
Well, and we've said in a prior episode, given Michael Kelly's exodus from Hasbro, it makes Diana's involvement that much more important because Michael was the guy keeping his eye on the soul of the brand, at least from the publishing aspect, inside Hasbro's doors. And so there are still some good people there. I was looking at the inside. I recognize some of the names. Ed Lane has been there forever and has always done a good job. But it doesn't lessen the loss of Michael Kelly, but it does make Diana's involvement that much more important. So
An addendum: the 100,000 figures across the 301, 302, and number 1 reprint. So just so we're not giving inaccurate info.
Yeah.
All right. Good job. Thank you.
Either
Phil.
way, healthier sales than G.I. Joe's seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Decades.
Again,
probably.
5 to 7 per issue is really not bad sales in this day and age, but it ain't 50,000. But so that's number 4. Rolls us into number 3, obviously related. Skybound is revealed as the new home of G.I. Joe and Transformer Comics. So this was we really didn't know for a long time, and then for about 4 months, it was the worst kept secret in comics. But yeah, I mean, hard to argue with the success out of the gate. Like, folks seem to be excited about Robert Kirkman's brand being involved. So apparently, that was the right call. Good job to the folks at Hasbro that were responsible for that decision, who I would imagine, at least in no small order, was Michael Kelly. But yeah, again, everything that we just talked about. But in addition to that, Rob is excited about the Duke comic that I don't have because my local shop decided to do something dumb.
I might have more than one issue waiting for me in my comic. I can take a look.
All right, I appreciate
I'll
that.
take a look tomorrow when I go too, because it being sold at the distributor level doesn't mean that they didn't get more in. So
right.
Well, it was not on the rack.
I have a
No,
I have
mean,
a
this
Slaughter's
week.
Marauders. I have a Slaughter's Marauders barbecue. If you're
No, you
in that.
don't.
Oh wait. Oh
No,
no,
you
I don't.
We should send you more of those.
Right? Just wrap them in some Hiya Toys exquisite storm shadows to prevent damage, and send them right here.
There'll be some weird packing, but we're on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, get a lot of shattered action figures there, Mark.
that's fine.
So, Rack Time Rob, have you ever read anything else out of Skybound?
I mean, it wasn't Skybound then, but I read a whole bunch of issues of Invincible. Robert Kirkman's superhero series.
Right.
Yeah.
I love
but
it.
I wasn't
Invincible.
I wasn't
Love
big
it.
on Walking Dead. I've been reading the Transformers book, and I generally didn't like Transformers comics. The Transformers book is great.
Joe Colton hates it, by the way. Just saying.
Oh, it's robots.
Mm.
But it's robots that are pulling off wrestling moves, so she might like it.
Okay, it's not bad.
Wrestling robots.
That is an improvement.
I think the big thing that Skybound's done is Kirkman apparently loved G.I. Joe and Transformers as a kid. He got people to work on these properties who also loved those properties. Daniel Warren Johnson was a huge Transformers fan. Joshua Williamson, the writer of Duke and Cobra Commander, is a huge G.I. Joe fan. I saw an interview where he was saying how the classified figures are taking over his house, and we know what Larry's going to do with the book. So there's an and that's an A-list of talent right there working on these properties.
And it matters. It always mattered with brand. Like there were super talented brand managers at Hasbro who just happened to be on Star Wars, let's say, completely made up, right? But because they hadn't worked on a boys brand yet, right? And to move up the chain, you had to have girls experience, boys experience, games experience. Now you're signed off on and you're ready to be promoted. So there were talented people working on brands they didn't care beans about, right? And you can always tell when someone actually cares about the property they're entrusted with helping. And I think that's that truth is lost on a lot of
Yeah.
executives, not just toy, but a lot of executives out there.
Right. Right. But any extra thoughts on this before we move on to number 2?
Yeah,
Number
like I
2.
said, these books have a better core of writers on them than a lot of Spider-Man books do.
How many Spider-Man books are there?
17?
That's not enough because there's like 500 Spider-Man.
Right, and all 17 of them are about Peter Parker. So it's like they're not even covering the other Spider-Man.
Not even Peter Park's car?
I don't know.
You gotta bring back Marvel Team Up.
I can't keep track of it. I can't keep track of any of this stuff anymore. But moving forward, number 2. Yeah, not a good one. And it's the one we were all waiting for and nobody wants to talk about, but here we are and we're going to talk about it. Hasbro bookended 2023, there's that term again, by announcing massive layoffs in January and December. Basically, if we're getting a HasLab sent to us, massive layoffs. That's what we can connect. Wait, that has nothing to
Correlation, causation.
Yeah, not there. But that's my one attempt at a joke about layoffs. But terrible, just terrible. I don't like. What else can we say when this company that has these brands, these properties, these characters, these toys that we love, that we support because of that love, and then treats the people that are responsible for bringing them to us so shabbily? It almost feels like an abusive relationship from our standpoint. Forget about the people that have actually been hurt by this. I won't even get into that because that's a whole other, like, that's not my experience. But like, I'm starting to feel bad about buying toys, and that shouldn't be the case.
A friend of mine was actually laid off in the January layoffs. So that really brings it home and like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm still not personally affected, but I know somebody who is.
Me too.
Right, Mark.
Yours wasn't January though.
we'll give you the floor on this, Mark.
I mean, I don't have that much to say. I can't tell you how much it hurt. If you cared about the brand you were working on, right? Or if you moved your family to Rhode Island, right?
Right.
Like, I can't tell you what it feels like because it is working on the brands is a joy. And by and large, the people there, the co-workers that you worked with were such a cool group of people. And I haven't been there in, God, 7 years now, almost 7 years. But I'm sure the people who joined after me were fantastic as well. And when they tell you can't come to the clubhouse anymore, that is a really hard day. And when I looked at this and went, they did this a week after their global day of joy.
Yeah.
Right? When every employee is not required, but pretty much required to put on a global day of joy t-shirt and go out and represent the company in communities and do a lot of this community service and toy donation stuff. And it's both Goldner and Chris Cox have said it's the most important day of the year in Hasbro. So, but the idea that you got that one last bit out of 1,000 people and then told them their services were no longer required right before the holidays. Like, there's no good time for a layoff, but
there's certainly better ones.
This one felt especially callous. And when I left Hasbro, when I was let go from Hasbro, I made a list of the people inside the company that I wanted to stay in contact with. And there were 104 that I considered friends or contacts or whatever. Yeah. Colleagues, people that I wanted to stay in touch with because I expected they'd be there forever, right? I think there's like 13 of them left. Now that's 7 years. I've been gone quite a while.
Look, it's not so. After 7 years, there shouldn't have been 90 of those names lopped off of that list.
Yeah. And where it's come to, and actually where it got to, I think earlier this year, probably the tipping point, is when Hasbro started to lose people they really wanted to keep. Because people kept seeing this act swing over and over again. And finally, they're losing really talented, really valuable people who aren't willing to sit there and wait for the knock on the door. And so, you know, the toy biz, like a lot of other businesses, the stuff they're working on today is 2 years out. So
Right.
we won't feel this for quite a while. But wow, the chop that's been going on for 7 years, and the light backfill, which is almost always straight out of college, not low salary, but by comparison, a lot lower salary than the person they are essentially replacing for the things they do backfill. A lot of it is just the same amount of work gets spread out to the grateful remaining people. You can only add so much work to somebody's 9 to 5 before they start looking for something else. So this is a mismanagement at a massive level, and it's a real problem for a brand we all love and toys we love to collect, and you know, something we want to continue in perpetuity. But this was the worst of several that we've seen over the last couple of years. This is a really bad one. And for Joe fans, and we've said it before, the fact that Michael Kelly is no longer there is terrifying for the IP of the brand. Nobody there, aside from probably Lenny, but Lenny hasn't been on the Joe brand that long. Michael Kelly's been overseeing the publishing of all the Hasbro stuff, but he was specifically in tune on Transformers and G.I. Joe. And his exit is a massive crater and a gigantic mistake from the boys in Pawtucket.
Right. Cheapest big spender, vocalizing really the conundrum that we all feel. We don't want to buy in support of the layoffs, but buying helps employ the employees still there, right? So it almost feel like you feel bad if you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Is John Warden still there? Did he make it through?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Well, he's still on G.I. Joe then. That helps.
Yeah, I think in some ancillary capacity.
Warden got a promotion, I think, about a year ago. So he's kind of supervising a lot of brands. So
he's got a lot under his umbrella.
Yeah.
That's yeah, just terrible. I think, you know, it's our snapshot into just corporate life in the whole country right now. There's a lot of this short-sighted, you know, cash out, please the stockholders and punish everybody else mentality going on, and it's terrible. It's terrible everywhere, and this is us getting bit by it. So
also worth noting, you know, we also always just kind of think of Hasbro, but also not the other companies it owns, like Wizards of the Coast, who, you know, this year put out both a motion picture that was pretty well received, if not, you know, the greatest moneymaker, but also Game of the Year video game. And even a lot of their team got decimated by these layoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely blasted. But we'll move on. We'll come to story number 1, which is a much better story. We promise. And it was number 1 with a bullet. It was my top story. Everybody else on the panel had it in second place. So in terms of the points we assigned, it didn't miss too many of them. But the Dragonfly. Funding and unlocking all its bonus tiers in pretty short order. You know, not proton pack fast, but pretty darn fast. And that's always a good thing, right? Any time a product that, frankly, none of us would have believed that they were doing something at this scale at the beginning of the year, and to have it roll out and get backed and funded and signed, sealed, delivered practically. We should all have this in our hot little hands middle of next year. Great news. I mean, just wonderful. A good sign of the strength of G.I. Joe and specifically Classified.
This is another one that's just really big when you see it in person. It's, you know, it's hard to visualize on just the JPEGs on the screen. But I saw it at Comic-Con, their prototype, and it's impressively large.
Right. Well, I mean, you see the pictures and you see the figure sitting in the cockpit, right? And you're like, oh, well, of course. And then you hold a classified figure in your hand. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Dave McDonald was close in that number one. He thought would be the Grimace Shake. Close.
Honorable mention.
Close. It was there. Others receiving votes. But
Too many deaths to bring up.
You guys all bought on this, correct?
Yeah.
And so good. Need to find some space.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even opened the Hiss tank yet.
Hang it from the ceiling.
I mean, you talk about that for display purposes. It just might have to be that for storage purposes. I may just have to duct tape it up there at this point. But yeah, again, expensive, but not a huge ask, right?
Mm.
$275 was the tag on this.
Yeah.
Which if again you stack it up with that Cobra mothership, and it's easily as much toy for almost half the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, plus a figure, plus all that stuff.
Right.
I mean,
right.
$275 felt like good for just that, let alone the bonus tiers that came along after.
Isn't it 2 figures? Didn't we get Glenda? Or did we not get Glenda?
No,
we did.
Glenda happened, and Ripcord.
Yeah, I mean, all the figures came, but like I said, I was just talking about the base package.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And Crazy Legs happened, and yeah, I mean, they all happened.
Ooh, can't wait.
So-
Free Fall? Wait,
Ripcord.
we didn't get Free Fall.
No.
We got
Nobody cares
Mr.
about
Bongo.
Glenda's death of the line right there.
Yeah.
Right? I can't believe this survived the inclusion of Glenda.
God forbid. God forbid an easy repaint character gets included with your anyways.
Coming with that flash laser rifle.
I will when Flash shows up either as a name reveal or a digital render, I will start to get more excited. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of sweating this one out.
Can't hurt though. Can't hurt.
Watch, they finally release Flash, and it's the rise
Yeah,
of
I mean
Cobra.
that special tooling's got to pay for itself somehow. So
Right. I hear you, but when I see it, I'll believe it. That's where I'm at this point. That's where I'm at. And of course, that brings us to others receiving votes. From the mind of Phil Donnelly, G.I. Joe at Ollie's got votes. Thanks, Phil. Normal retail business got votes.
Yeah, but the speed at which it was happening, where figures were coming in, being pushed out by the retailers so quickly because of so much product coming in that year.
Well, now if you had framed it like that,
Well, I only had so much space, and
only so much space on that open-ended document. New characters and classified was a Mark Webber specialty.
Ooh,
I might have seen more momentum on that if it wasn't Wolf Spider and Mole Rat.
yeah.
I mean, why don't we just throw Crimson Bat in there while we're at it?
Baby stepping.
I guess. Hasbro taking a bath on E1, I thought was a much bigger story, and nobody else had that on their list. So, I mean, we asked the question on our thumbnail: how do you lose $3.5 billion overnight? How do you make a small fortune in the commodities industry? You start with a large fortune. And then of course 60th anniversary figures got a couple of votes from a couple of you guys down the ballot. Another head scratcher from Phil is the McFarlane Page Punchers. I'm sorry, Phil, you can't defend that one.
it's just more showing of Hasbro licensing out, but also licensing.
Nope, not listening. And then from Rob, Hiya Toys expanding their offerings, which is legitimate.
They sell in the same store.
I think that was his number 10, so I'll stand by that one. But yeah, the E1, and not just because it was mine, I thought it was going to be number 8 on everybody's list or number 7 on everybody's list, and it just turned out that nobody was nobody was talking about E1. So I would say, if out of all of these, if you wanted to sub that one in on your personal list, do that. And if you've got some ideas on what you think the top stories were, be sure to leave us a comment down below. We do our best to eventually react and comment back on the stuff that you leave us here on the YouTube threads and the YouTube comments. Be sure to do all the other cool YouTube stuff, like liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and of course spread us around your various social media circles, be that Reddit groups or Facebook groups or just wherever you spread the love and the joy of G.I. Joe with your collecting friends. Yeah. Matt Rubin keeping score on Phil getting cut off. But we're running kind of long tonight, so we'll just do a real quick round of shout outs. Phil, you're our guest. Go ahead, shout out.
As always, to Patrick Stewart, my other half on our Articulated Points podcast, which you can find on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, probably Blue Sky sooner rather than later. We got to jump on that. And we're a podcast that just talks about toys we think are really interesting, should be overlooked, or even Disney stuff. It's catered to my taste, and my taste really.
That's fine. If you like Toy Galaxy and you like the historical backdrop that Dan gives you in his videos every week, Phil and Patrick go super deep on smaller subjects.
Danger Room.
Right. So if you love the deep dive, that Articulated Points is your show. I recommend you go and subscribe immediately.
Ooh,
I appreciate it.
I pray.
What else you got, Phil?
Shout out to you guys for always letting me back on here time and again, even if I'm
Even
holding
during the course of the episode.
Oh, Captain Boomerang.
still not the record.
Keep pushing, Phil.
Phil led the league in total bannings last year, and he's off to a good start again.
Right. He's like that talented offensive lineman that just can't get the snap count down.
That's it.
Keep throwing a flag.
So yeah, there we go.
Rack time, Rob.
Shout out to the studio audience. Oh, you're great. For me to poop on. No, I kid. You guys are fantastic. Yes. I just had to do it that way.
All right.
Junkyard, the insult comic dog. Still showing off some G.I. Joe manga because we don't have time to do what we got in. Maybe next week. Maybe if you don't do so much stuff that gets you kicked off, we'll have more time next week. I don't know.
I can't help it.
Mark Weber, shout it out.
A shout out to Phil Donnelly for reading books from the back to the front in his Z pattern. Shout out to Marvel Comics for canceling X-Men Red a year too late. Appreciate that. Saving me $4 a month. And we mentioned him earlier. John Warden doesn't get mentioned that much because he hasn't been actively currently involved running G.I. Joe in quite some time, but he did the fantastic Pursuit of Cobra line was pretty much all John Warden. And he posted this week that his father passed away last week. So, all thoughts going to John, after dealing with that kind of loss. So sorry to bring it down, but
especially this time of year.
He's really, really important in modern Joe history. So, good to let John know we're thinking of it.
And I will reiterate Rob's shout out to the studio audience. Thank you guys for joining us every week. Remember, again, like, subscribe, do the cool YouTube stuff. If you're on Facebook, leave us a thumbs up or a heart or a little huggy guy. That's how they know you're watching. That's how the word gets spread, and we grow this thing. We're going to grow as much as your little clicks let us grow. So please don't be stingy. Give a shout out to, of course, Phil Donnelly guesting with us tonight. We appreciate you, Phil. We'll see you next week. For Rack Time Rob and for Mark Weber as well. Give a shout out to our good friend Brian Lower, who took the week off for just because every so often you got to take a week off.
Yeah.
He'll be back next week to service our warm-up act. Stop doing what we got in, Phil. I will kick you out again. Give a shout out to our sponsors at Kokomo Toys. Real quick, let's sing the theme song. Kokomo Toys. Kokomo Toys. And that's it. We'll be back next week. We've got a humdinger planned, of course. The top 10 G.I. Joe items, toys, collectibles of 2023. I know we'll be probably the last ones that you'll watch doing it, but that was kind of the point, right? We don't want to do it the same week everybody else is doing it.
We're the final word.
You can find out how wrong everybody else was.
Right.
The definitive list.
Yeah. This is the teacher's edition.
The definitive top 10 G.I. Joe collectibles of 2023. We'll be back with it. That one, of course, decided by our all-star panel of 9. So we actually get some science and some math involved there. And we'll see you then next Tuesday at 9:05 on the Superstation after a special encore presentation of Tango and Cash. As our friend Vagon likes to say, hey, stay safe, and if you can't, be careful. Be sure to join us next week at 9:05 for another special episode of What's on Joe Mind.
Get the job, you hippies. Oh, yes, I can.
Have a great week, everybody. Yo, Joe.
Beer!
Meow.